yes, we work together. Kaya nga sinabi ko kanina, no, why I started in the figuring ground. Because I need to understand people. Magkakaiba ang kultura. Ang hirap maunawaan ang kultura ng isang student. Lalong-lalo na kung ikaw ay na-promote going to that school, medyo challenge yun. Why am I saying? Kasi nag-start ako sa ganun eh. Na-promote ako from a school na hindi ko pinagsimulan. What do I mean by that? Kasi yung dati yung pinanggalingan school yan annex. So mga bata kami nag-start doon. So we have started all throughout. And suddenly when I wish to be promoted, nalipat ako sa mas malaking school. Before I handled only 8. When I transferred, there are 30 teachers na magkakaiba ang klase ng kultura. May mga young, may mga old. So, ibig sabihin that the perspective is actually very different. That's why looking at this kind of organization, you really need to understand. Ang kailangan talaga natin doon is, sabi ko nga kanina, at first, you need to communicate. Sa change management system, kinakailangan isang importanteng component doon, mag-usap. Hindi yan pwedeng it's all about the position. It's not just the position, but on how you'll be able to relate yourself with others. Okay? And that is a system. And a school as a social system can be defined. Okay? Can be defined as a school as a social system can be defined as a system that refers to the activities with the interaction of group members. A school is not a closed system. A school is an open system. Again, please take note of that the school is not a closed system. A school is an open system. What do I mean by that? That the school is an open system. Anyone? Yes, Rizaldo. What do I mean by that? That the school is an open system?
Because I think that all idea of the teacher must be heard. Because I think even idea is like a wrong idea. I think it can help. Maybe other teacher can improve that idea to be good, something like that. That's why we have to be open to each other and listen to all the teachers that are capable to share ideas, because it's for that school improvement.
Okay. Yes, Maria Disalin Gale.
Hello, good afternoon po, sir. So I think school is an open system because it interacts with the community. Of course, our stakeholders, our communities that we're involved with. So we have activities, interactions, or linkages. And we are part of the school is a part of the community.
Well said. Actually, if you look at the school as an open system, we are not limiting the school only for the teachers, but rather looking at the composite of the entire school system. You always look at in the macro perspective point of view, that we are referring to the stakeholders, whether there are internal or external. So magkasama, open system siya. There's a common purpose. Kaya nga, meron tayong tinatawag ng Adapaskol program, partnership program, because we wanted to empower the community and other stakeholders to join us in a particular goal. And what is that? To provide quality education service. And as part of RA 9155, or the Basic Education Governance Act of Decentralizing Education, 9155, of Decentralizing Education, we invite stakeholders to join us in creating a decision-making process that will help us achieve the goals of the school. Maganda yon. Kasi alam naman natin that we are constrained with the budget. And we have a lot of plans. We have a lot of plans in our organization. Marami tayong plano para sa mga bata. Kaya lang, hindi naman natin masasabi na magagawa ito without the economic aspect. And the only way that we can do that is to really invite our stakeholders to join us in this journey. Okay, in this journey of providing quality education service. Di ba? So, makikita nyo, no, the school is indeed an open system. Okay? So, other than that, the school is a community, a miniature. Okay? A school as a community in miniature. Ganun mo siya tinitingnan. So, sabi nga rito, no, sa chat box, it takes a village to educate the child. Laging yan yung ano natin, no, sa DepEd. It takes a village to educate the child. So, everybody performs a vital role, okay, in providing quality service. So, why did I say that the school community is a miniature? Because school is a social institution which has been established by the society for the purpose of transmitting its members those ideas, attitudes, and dispositions that will make them members of the society, productive members of the society. Parang sa vision natin, no? We dream of the Filipinos who passionately love their country. So we are envisioning. Our vision is a prayer. Ang vision ng DepEd is a prayer that we wanted to have a productive students having this patriotic idealism. Kala natin na yung vision is just a simple, okay, manifestations of word, but this is actually a prayer of what kind of members that we would like to produce in our society. And that is a school community ending towards a specific vision or goal. Kaya tinatawag natin siyang school as community in miniature. Okay? The school should be viewed as a location where experiments in life might happen rather than a setting where conventional information is ingrained as authoritative. That we look at the school as a progressive institution, looking at Dewey's particular philosophy of progressivism. And what is progressivism? If we will be using the parameters of Dewey, ideas of progressivism, what is progressivism? If we will be using the parameters of Dewey's perceptions or philosophy that the school is a progressive institution, what are we referring to? That the school is a progressive institution. There is what? Progressivism. Let us try to recall those basic ideas that we have. Yes, Michael.
Like active learning by the students themselves. They do most of the learning.
Okay, active learning. Okay, other than there's an active learning, there's a social reform, progressivism. What is the most important concept that we need to remember if we look at progressivism? Yes, Gail.
Okay, Mama?
Yes, Gail. Lisalin.
No, sir. I think I agree with Sir Michael. It's more on active learning. I'd like to add that when it comes to progressivism, there is collaboration and cooperation, working in teams when it comes to the students in order to learn.
Yes. And some mention that it's all about learning by doing. Kasi in the progressive concept of Dewey, you will also look at the idea of the democratic space. Child-centered siya, Okay? But there is always a democratic space. Why is democratic space is very important? Because if we will be allowing people to engage, kung papayagan natin na maging democratic ang espasyo ng isang institution, we are allowing different people, whether that will be the students, the community, to participate, okay, in achieving the goal. Kaya nga progressive siya. We learn by doing, correct. We allow the students to explore, but nonetheless, we are allowing them to grow in a democratic space. Maganda makita ng school ay isang community in miniature. Kung titingnan natin on a progressive point of view, na sana lahat ay kalahok. Kaya nga ang 9155, the Republic Act, is actually an invitation to all stakeholders to be a part of the shared governance, shared decision making. Lahat tayo, teacher, estudyante, magulang, external stakeholders will be a part of what we call school governance. Okay? Sana, no? Maganda kasi pag nakikita mong lahat is doing their share, participating, and inviting, it will be a better way that the students will be able to achieve quality services kasi nagtutulong-tulong tayo. Unlike before, there's a delimitations of the participations. Okay? So, how we look at the perception of school as a system. So, this is the school, as I mentioned a while ago, in a brief glimpse, the school is an open system that we're discussing, and there is an idea that the school may be a closed system, especially those schools under a specific governing institution. Halimbawa, meron tayong mga sectarian schools that is limited on their own policies that can be categorized as a school system, closed system. Okay, but in the public school, there is an engagement that stakeholders are being invited to participate in the governance. Okay? So, as I mentioned, usually, no, lagi kong binabanggit yung open system, that the school, if you look at as open system, the school constantly, correct tayo doon, check tayo, that the school constantly interact with their external environment. Ay maganda sa atin kung merong engagement, kung tayo ay magiging school leaders talaga, we really need to deal with the different parents. Tayo rin naman naging advisor din tayo na classroom, meron tayong mga classroom officers, then we need to deal with them. They're a part of the education system. Then the schools need to structure themselves to deal with the forces in the world around them. Diba? Hindi tayo hiwalay kasi. Hindi tayo hiwalay sa community. Kasama natin sila. Okay? On the other hand, if you will be looking at the school as a closed system, it views the school as sufficiently independent to solve all the problems through their internal forces without taking into account forces in the external environment. Some sectarian school, so to speak, some sectarian school under a congregation will be a closed system. Minsan, wala silang mga PTA officers. Have you seen some private schools that they don't have PTA officers? Meron yan. That they tend to work internally. Okay, that is the idea of a closed system. So what are the basic elements that we can use to identify a school as an open system? Number one, the inputs process. Next will be the output. Okay? Next, you have the feedbacks. Next, you have the environment. So these are the 5 basic elements of the school as an open system. So to make a framework, okay, from Lannenberg perspective of the general school as an open system, you will see here in figure 1-1, this is the input, this is the transformation process, the output, and generally this is the organization and the environment. Looking at the environment, meaning there is an interactive connection or relationship the school on the other stakeholders. This is the framework, okay, looking at the Lannenberg's concept of the school as an open system. So, under input, ano ang titignan? What are those important ideas, concepts, sabi natin, on the objectives, under the input? You need to look at the human resources. Yung tao, yung teachers, okay? Then, the finances, financial aspect, the physical aspect, the information resources. If you will be establishing a private schools, if you will be, for example, in the long run, you want to become an entrepreneurial educator, you want to invest in establishing your own school, definitely, you need to identify what course that you want to offer. Kung kindergarten yan, anong kailangan mong human resources? Pwede bang tumanggap ka na lang any teachers basta education major siya? Pwede ba yon? Halimbawa, magtatayo tayo ng school, tignan natin yung input. Gusto mo ng kindergarten. Pwede ka bang tumanggap? Anybody basta education graduate? Or merong criteria? May criteria ba? Kapag halimbawa, kindergarten ang pag-usapan natin para makita natin yung concept of input ha. Kung magtatayo ka ng kindergarten,
Yes, sir. Meron po.
ano ang criteria natin? Yes, Ma'am Austria.
Pagka po kindergarten, sir, sa pagkakaalam ko po, kailangan po yung meron silang child psychology po. Ayun po. Tsaka po, kailangan po makita din natin na talaga bang may patience sila pagdating sa bata. Kasi po, iba po yung mga batang 4 years old pataas kaysa po dun sa mga elementary at high school po. May level. Thank you po.
Merong criteria. Under the Omnibus Kindergarten Policy, dapat ang magtuturo, graduate ng teaching early grades. 10. Hindi pwede diyang elementary or secondary, dapat teaching early grades or a graduate of family life and child development. So meaning, in the input itself, you really need to look at the human resources. Tingnan who is capable. Okay? Next, finances. Kung magtatayo ka ng school, may bond. Dapat meron niyang pondo. Unang-unang tanong dyan, saan mo kukunin niya? You get the idea? Next, physical, which is very common. Classrooms, building, kindergarten. Hindi pwede na magtatayo ka ng kindergarten na bahay, tapos wala kang area. Sa Omnibus Kindergarten Policy, dapat ang sukat ng classroom mo 7x9. Katapos meron kang mga learning corners. Reading corner, math corner, play corner, good grooming, etc. So meaning, kung ito ay input, it's necessary in the organization to look at the inputs. Kaya minsan, kapag may nag-a-apply ng kindergarten in the public school, if that will not be met, minsan hindi na-approvean. Kasi there's a technical specification. Yung taas ng cabinet, meron yan. Yung taas na upuan, yung dami ng estudyante. See? These are inputs. Other than the physical, will be the information resources. See? So marami ang hindi na-approve kapag halimbawa you will not be able to look at the inputs. So I'm looking at the other perspectives. So you will see that in terms of the organization, there are technical requirements that you need to identify. Okay, so that is the input. Next, let us look at the transformation process. Okay, if you look at the transformation process, this transformation process includes the internal operation, the school, the district, the systems of operation management, and the system of operation management. Question: in the public school, where can you see the operation management of the institution? Pag pinag-usapan mo ang public school, in a simple way, where can you identify the operational management of a public school system? Sa isang public school. Yes, Rizaldo, saan?
Principal's office.
Sabi ni
Operational management.
Operational management.
Yes. Bigger or only in the community of the school? Maybe in the community of the school, the operation management is around the principal's office or division office, like that, in the bigger scenario.
Well, I'd like to accept the answer of Alan Joy Sabas. Alan Joy Sabas. Alan Joy Sabas mentioned, initially, you can look at the operational system. The operational system of the public school under the idea about the school-based management. Why the school-based management is actually one way to identify the operational system of the public school. Why the school-based management? Bakit Yes, Michael Magdasok. Yes, Michael, why the school-based management?
Because the teachers, the principals are the frontliners. They are the one directly or actively dealing with the children, with the students. So I think that is very it's basic school-based management.
Okay. The other idea, other opinion, other answer, why the school-based management is one way. Well, sabi ni Rosel Pinto, SBM is a form of decentralization. Well, true naman that the school-based management is a form of decentralization under 9155 and SBM is a shared decision-making process. I want to underscore that the school-based management is actually connected to the SIP. And what is the SIP? The School Improvement Plan. And the School Improvement Plan is the blueprint of the school-based management. Remember, the School Improvement Plan is the blueprint of the SIP. Lahat naman tayo nagkakasundo, no? Na alam natin ang School Improvement Plan. If you look at the School Improvement Plan, you identify the vision of the school for 3 years. You identify the priority improvement areas. You identify, determine the school situation. You identify the programs needed by the school. Okay? And you identify the tool that will help you to monitor and evaluate whether the programs is effective or not. So definitely, looking at the systems of operational processes, the school-based management is a one way to identify how far we can achieve gaano natin matatamo yung ating mga plan goals. And the SIP, okay, is always 3 years. So, ganun siya. Kung kala natin yung SIP ay si principal lang gumagawa, no. There is a school planning team. And I believe that some of you already involved in the school planning team to identify the priority improvement areas that need to address. Ganun siya. These are organization works. You identify the people, you identify the goals. Ganun kaklaro. Tayo, maski ako noon, when I was still a teacher, akala ko si principal lang ang gumagawa. Everybody is actually needs to play an active role. Hindi pwedeng sabihin teacher lang, hindi ganon. Hindi natin magagawa ito without the other. Okay? Sabi nga ni Jim Collins, no? We need to put all the people on the right seat of the bus. Communicate with them. Inform them. Where are we heading? Sa mga magiging principal, sa mga magiging supervisors, communication is very vital. Kaya kung meron tayong operational system, kinakailangan malaman nila kung ano talaga ang plano. Lahat naman ng kumpanya will not be successful without any vision. Laging may mantra yan. Laging may tagline. And that tagline reminds the employees what is the direction of the company. Parang SM, happy to serve. Kaya ibig sabihin dapat ang employee, they are happy to serve. Diba? Mga tagline ng bawat company. The tagline is a clear manifestation or an indication of what the company wants to achieve. Okay, that is the idea of systems of operational management. Kaya tayo, meron tayong school-based management. Okay? Some components of the system of operational management includes technical competence, remember technical competence of the administrator and other personnel. Decision making, and I emphasize, communication skills, plan of operations, and their ability to cope with change. Change is the only permanent thing in this world. And the pandemic is very, no, help us to how to make adjustment. Try to imagine, from a traditional classroom setup, we are now on the virtualization of education using ICT, information communication technology, to be an avenue of classroom. And virtualization of education is a part of globalizing education services. Excuse me. Globalizing education services. Globalization is actually more on economic. But if I will be using a right term of addressing the issue of globalization, I would say that internationalization of education is our response to globalization. Yan. So magkakadikit yan. So next, how about the output? So yung transformational processes natin, it's embedded on how management works. How about the output? Well, the output of the goals objectives can be looked at on the products, result, outcomes, or accomplishment, or systems. So yan yung pinaka-output base. Excuse. So what else? The output includes the achievement of the student, teacher performance. As soon-to-be school leaders, and soon-to-be school leaders, how would you identify or determine the performance of the teacher? Anong titingnan natin? Yes, Austria. Yes, Ma'am Austria.
Yes, sir. Thank you. From the achievements of the students, sir. From the achievements of the students, we're going to identify if the teachers, the performance of the teachers are effective or not.
Okay, it can be measured
Yes, sir.
from the performance of the student.
Yes, sir.
What else? Are there any other ways to determine the performance of the student? Yes, Ma'am, Mr. Angelo Habagat.
From the IPCRF, sir.
Very good. From the IPCRF. And you can look at the performance of the teacher from the IPCRF, from the Individual Performance Commitment Review Form. Akala ko, it's just unique in the Philippines. But when I go to Singapore, I went to Malaysia, meron din silang mga tinatawag na performance commitment form. Kapag halimbawa yung isang teacher ay hindi niya na-meet yung target, nagkakaroon ng upscaling, retooling ang teacher. Parang sa atin, in the Philippines, pag tinitingnan mo yung individual performance, dapat maging guide mo siya on how you will be able to improve that. Noon, before the IPCRF, meron pa tayong tinatawag na NCBTS, the National Competency-Based Teacher Assessment. TSNA, Teacher Strength Needs Assessment. Meron tayo niyan. Bakit natin ginagawa ito? Para makita kung ano yung kailangan, kahinaan ng teacher na kinakailangan tugunan ng institution. So the teacher performance can be identified, can be determined simply by the IPCRF. Next, the growth level of the student and teachers. Definitely, ang performance din ng output, nakaka-apekto rin yung dropout rate. Naku, measure yan, ang performance ng institution. Bakit maraming nagda-drop? Ano yung kinakailangan gawin? Anong intervention ang kinakailangan gawin? It's a challenge. Employee turnover, student and employee absenteeism, which measures the commitment. Pag lagi uma-absent ang teacher, ibig sabihin, there's a question of commitment. There's a question of commitment. Okay? Then employee management relation, school community relation, and student attitudes towards school, and employee job satisfaction. Yan. Yan yung tinitingnan nating output. Next, after that output, we can look at another aspect, the feedbacks. How about the feedbacks? It is actually the reaction to a product. Anong gagawin? A person's performance of task, which is used as basis for improvement. Yan, meron yan sa RPMS individual improvement. Ano yung dapat gawin? What improvements needed by the school? Kung maraming dropout, kung maraming ma-absent, ano ang dapat gawin? Okay? Next, the environment. Another aspect. It's the surrounding. The school district, which includes the social, political, and economic forces that impinge on the organization. May mga ganitong tanong. Bakit mababa yung performance ng school, ng mga estudyante? Ang laging dinadahil, kasi sir, yung community po namin, marami po dyan ay mga nakatira sa ganito, squatters. Marami pong mga magulang ang hindi nag-take care of their children. It should not be the issue. Ang sagot doon, ano ang magagawa ng school para tulungan yung community. Bakit ganun yung sagot ko? Kasi sabi natin kanina, the school is an open system. And there are different alternative delivery modes that can help the school and the community as well to produce productive students. Hindi yan nalilimitahan dahil yung school ay nasa gitna, ang kanyang mga estudyante ay galing sa mahirap. No, it's not the question kung saan sila galing. Merong mga estudyante na magagaling kahit na they are coming from the lower level of the strata of our society. It's not the issue. But however, how the school will be able to respond to that social, political, and economic climate. Okay? As I mentioned, the environment in the open system takes an ended significance today. Again, I'd like to underscore, takes an ended significance today. An idea of accountability. Nandyan tayo sa sektor ng edukasyon, sumumpa tayo, nangako tayo, and we are accountable to the students. Okay? Of the quality service that we need to provide. Nandyan tayo kasi gusto natin ito. Gusto natin maging teacher because we wanted to share something. Kaya nga, it's a policy, a climate of policy of accountability. Measure yan talaga ng commitment. Lahat naman tayo committed But there are levels of commitment. A commitment can be categorized into 3 ways. 1 can be effectively committed. 2, 1 can be continuously committed. And number 3, normative commitment. Tatlong commitment levels. Merong effective commitment, merong normative, merong continuance. So ano ba yung difference of the 3? Pag normative commitment ka, ano yung norms ng teacher? Pagka teacher ka, ano yung usual norms natin? Pag teacher tayong lahat, anong norms natin?
Magtuturo lang.
What is actually our usual norms as a teacher? Para makita niyo yung normative. Magturo. Yes, Austria.
To teach and guide our students so that even without us, they can stand alone.
Okay. Ganito ang normative ha. Let me tell you about the normative commitment. Ang normative commitment, meron ng teacher. Ano yung norms natin? Natural. Papasok tayo, magtuturo tayo, gagawa tayo ng lesson plan, imimit natin yung advisory natin, kung ano yung nasa reference natin. Norms yon. Get the idea? That is your norms. Pagta-time in, gagawa ng lesson plan, gagawa ng materials, etc. Pagka uwian na, 12 o'clock na, uwi na. Norms yon. Sinabi ni principal, Ma'am Gail, Ma'am Maribig, stay muna kayo. Di ba? Sir, 12 na po. Ito yung norms, yung ginagawa natin usually. Ano naman yung continuance? Similarly, ang continuance is similar to the normative, but rather than, sige, pwede mo nang pakiusapan yan, yung mga teacher with the continuance commitment, pero itong mga merong continuance commitment, pag nakakita to, given the opportunity that this teacher will be able to work abroad, or to work in a call center, iwanan niya yung trabaho niya, looking at the other greener pasture. Nakita niyo yung difference? Similar siya, pero itong continuance, aalis yan, hahanap yan ng ibang trabaho pag may nakita yan. Sir, paano naman yung effective commitment? Effective commitment talks about the attachment of the teacher. Your attachment to the school. Yung problema ng school, problema mo. Hanggang bahay, tangay-tangay mo. Ano ba yan? Kasi ganito sa school, paano ba ako makakatulong? Yung mga nakakaramdam ng ganyan, yung problema ng school, problema niya rin. This is how closely attached a person if that is a effective commitment. Kaya that's why I'm saying the policy of accountability depends on the commitment of the teacher. Clear? You get the idea?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Nakakaintindihan na. Para makita niyo yung open system, may commitment pala na kailangan dito, kailangan pala rito ng commitment, etc. Okay? So the learning organization in toto is a strategic commitment. Again, no? Learning organization is a strategic commitment to capture and share learning in the organization for the benefit of the individuals, teams, and the organization. Okay? Again, I would like to emphasize strategic commitment. Another emphasis for the benefit of the individuals, teams, and organization. That's why if you will be looking at the etymology of the word education, from the word educare, educere, meaning to bring the very best among our students. If we are leaders, we want to bring the very best among our teachers. So that is how a learning organization works. Okay? Another one, according to Peter Senge, learning organization as an organization where people continually expand their capacity to create results, they truly desire, where new and expansive patterns of thinking are nurtured, where there is a collective aspiration, collective collaborative, collective aspiration is set free in a progressive, in a democratic space where people are continually learning how to learn together. In a progressive point of view, in looking at the democratic space. Okay? Gusto ko lang i-share if you have time to look at a good book about systems thinking. This is one good that I really appreciate by Peter Senge. The title of the book, The Fifth Discipline, The Art of Practice of the Learning Organization. Maganda siya. You will like it. Okay? By Peter Senge. And this talks about the systems thinking. Let me give you some ideas about the systems thinking. Yan. In the systems thinking, there are 5 interdependent disciplines. You will see here team learning, mental models, personal mastery, shared vision. Kapag tayo leader, kinakailangan may shared vision ka eh. Tapos yung systems or systemic thinking. This is why I appreciate Peter Senge. Sinasabi niya lagi, dapat tingnan mo tong element na to in order to make a good learning organization. I hope you will be able to look at it, that book, to learn something. It's more on a collaborative eh. It's more on collaboration. Actually, when I was taking this in my PhD, it's one sem. Pero when I was asked by Sir Joel, Sir, nai-isip, and I wanted to share and to look at the systems thinking. It's a good book. You will really appreciate that. Okay? Then, what are those 5 independent? Shared vision. Meaning, there must be a sharing an image of the future. If we're emphasizing the school, what do we want the schools to be after 3 years? Dapat hindi lang kayo yan. Dapat yung kasama nyo rin. Importante, kausap, sabihin, ano yung goal. So, para ma-realize nyo the direction of the school. This is a shared vision. Next, personal mastery. What is that personal mastery? o process of personal commitment. Sir, ang hirap yata niyan, commitment yan, di ba? It's subjective. Yes, indeed. It's subjective. But you can feel, you can identify. Okay, you can identify using the spiritual intelligence. Who are those people who are committed to that? Mararamdaman mo yan sa mga kasama mo kung sino yung gusto. Okay? That is personal mastery. A process of personal commitment to vision, excellence, and lifelong learning. Mental models. Deeply ingrained in assumption that influence personal and organizational views and behavior. These are your mental models. Kasi iniisip mo ano yung para sa eskwelahan. Ano yung gusto mo. Team learning. You cannot do it alone. You need other people. The process of learning collectively, the idea that two brains are smarter than one. Okay? And lastly, which is the most important, systems thinking. A conceptual framework that sees all parts are interrelated and affecting each other. Kaya lahat tayo na nasa eskwelahan, hindi tayo magkakaaway. Okay? Tayo ay magkakasama. We are on the same boat, on the same vision. Okay? And we have a same mission. Sabi nga no, ni Henry Ford, in the learning organization, coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is a progress. Working together is success. Henry Ford. So anong sinasabi ko na learning organization? You work on a systems thinking. Collaborate, teamwork, and always have a shared common vision. Any comments, question for this learning organization? Comments? Question? Klaro ba tayo sa trajectory ng ating learning organization? Remember the systems I'm telling you?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Punta naman tayo sa another angle, the leadership and management. Let us look at on the introductory concepts. The difference between a leader and a manager. What is the difference between a leader and a manager? Anyone? Difference between a leader and a manager. O common yan na, sino yung leader, sino yung manager? Marami yan sa school, akala manager. Meron din namang, leader yan. Sige, you may now start chatting, sharing. Yes, Ma'am Rodriguez.
Sir, a leader leads and a manager follows.
Okay? Sabi nito, may follower ang leader. Sabi ni Jerel, leader leads a team. Manager tells what to do. Okay? Sabi ni Ma'am Mina, a leader inspires while the manager directs. Ang sasarap naman ng mga sharing. Leader inspires and motivates while manager. Okay? Sabi naman ni Ma'am Laksamana, I and we. Okay. Ang gaganda ng mga ideas and sharing in that shot, if you will be looking at the idea of a leader. Another picture. See? This is the leader. And this is the manager. Dito pala makikita mo na, no? In the first picture, the leader joins. Diba? The leader joins. Leads the group. While the manager directs. You'll see the difference between the two. So commonly, there's a difference in this kind of picture. What is a leader and what is a manager? Sabi ni Ma'am Marie Chris, a manager is somebody who takes control, administer. Okay? Simply yung picture natin, ano? But again, no, it's very meaningful. It's very meaningful. So looking at the Venn diagram that I want to share to you, you will see here the difference between leadership and management. So what are those important concepts, ideas about leadership? Leadership focus on goals. Sell it. Communicate it. Okay? Sell it. Binibenta niya. Take the risk. Risk taker ang isang leader. Motivate and encourage the team. Go against the grain. Break the rules. Inspire trust and foster ideas. On the other hand, if you will be looking at the management, it only focus on tasks. Ano ba yung trabaho? Ano ba yung gagawin? Hindi yung, ano ba yung objective? Ano ba yung layunin natin? Manager, tell it. Sinasabi niya. Manager, in a management, it minimizes the risk. Go with the flow. The management approves, follows the rules in toto, expect control, especially in terms of dealing with the members, and assign tasks, delegates. But commonly, the leadership and management is similar in terms of how to accomplish a goal, how they mobilize the resources, and explain the vision. So, in this Venn diagram, you can classify, you can identify the difference between these two important concepts. So, this is leadership. And if you will be looking at the leadership, it is one of the important function of management. Again, management is not actually, hindi naman natin sinasabing it's not related to leadership, but actually we are connected to each other. Leadership is the one of the most important, okay, function of management. Okay, leading involves directing, influencing, and motivating employees to perform. So if we are leaders, we direct, we influence, and motivate people. According to Peter Drucker, leadership is shifting its own vision to higher heights. Okay? The raising of man's performance to the higher standard. Because we motivate people eh. We are not managers. We are leaders. We motivate people, we encourage them to perform, we want to set the standards. Building the personality of our members beyond its normal limitations. That is the idea of leadership. So I'd like to show you different definition. Hindi ko nababanggitin na ang dami kasing definition of different authors. If you will be looking at the definition of leadership from Gardner, from Jacob Jacks, from Cotter. Cotter is actually one of a famous writer who wrote about change management. To him, leadership refers to the process that helps direct and mobilize people. And there it is especially in adapting to change. So you have also Dratt and Paulus. So marami. But the main concept of those authors talks about process. It's all about process. Also Clark and Clark, definition, leadership is an activity or set of activities that focus the process. I'd like to capture marami kasi, I just like to show you some definition which is very common. For Barnard, leadership is all about behavior. Ugali, quality behavior. Longdale, leadership is a process. For Robbins, it's ability. It's ability of a person to influence a certain group. For Barker and Lucier and Achua, leadership is all about process. Ang dami. Ang dami nating pwedeng i-uncover pag tinitingnan natin yung definition of leadership. But the most important thing, I want you to look at the thematic. Pag ginamitan ko yan ng coding, by looking at the coding process, ito lang ang pinaka-main process nila. It's the main concept. In the parameters of kasi, no, of sequencing the idea of a leadership or a certain definition, you can use coding. At pagka tinignan mo yung coding nila, these are important concepts that you can arrive in this different definition. For Nordhaus, it's also a process. For Yukel, it's all about process. Okay? So, ang dami, no? So, hindi ko na siya iniisa-isa just to give you an idea of what are those commonalities on the definition of leadership. But one of the most striking quotation that I'd like to share is that leadership is a capacity of everybody to translate a vision into reality. You will never become a good leader or manager unless you will be able to materialize the goal that you want to achieve. Tama naman tayo. Lahat naman tayo kung may goal, kailangan magawa mo siya. A goal, okay, without a plan, it's just a dream. Tama tayo. Ano lang yan? Sinasabi mo lang, wala namang nangyayari.
Ang ina, pag
Gusto
makagraduate
mo
ako ng
ganito but you're not putting that into action. How you'll be able to how you will be able to invite, okay, motivate people to work with you. So it's a capacity, it's an ability, it's a process of translating that kind of vision into reality, ito ng output. Okay? So on the other hand, after looking at the leadership, you have this management. So management is simply defined as the attainment of organizational goals in an effective and efficient manner through planning, organizing, leading, and controlling according to Duff et al. 2010, page 7. And for Robbins, management implies the use of authority, inherent in terms of the status, inherent in terms of the designation, the ranks, okay, in order to obtain compliance from members of an organization. Supervisor, o aking principal, as a manager, ito yung gagawin. Okay? And according to Mullins, 1996, it encompasses getting done through other people in order to achieve stated objectives. Okay? So who is a leader? So one that leads or guides. So again, one that leads or guides. Number two, one who is in charge or in command of others. Next, one who leads. It's one who heads a political party or organization. One who has influence or power, especially in political nature. On the other hand, you have the different characteristic of a leader. Ang isang leader is with empathy. What is empathy? Empathy. A leader is with empathy.
By putting yourself to the shoes of the others.
Okay, you put yourself on the shoes of the others. You can feel with them. Nararamdaman mo sila. Alam mo kung ano yung hinuhugutan nila. Tama?
Yes,
Yes,
po.
sir.
Dapat alam nyo yan.
Yes.
always put yourself in the shoes of the others. Kung kayo man ay maging leaders later on, you always need to understand and share the feelings. Alam niyo yung kalagayan nila. Yes, do, kayo po yung dating head teacher na usap. Okay. Next, consistency. Dapat firm, a sense of fairness. There's a consistency. There is an honesty, idea of honesty, accountability, and compassionate. Magandang word na compassionate. And there is always a sense of direction. Alam niya kung saan niya dadalhin yung taon niya. May goal. There's a way, sense of direction. Okay? Next, communicate. Ako lagi kong ine-emphasize yan yung communication. Okay, communication. Need support from all. Hindi mo kayang mag-isa yan. You need your team. Kahit saan mong kunin na authors ng leadership and management, sasabihin lagi, build your guiding team. Collaborate. Be a transformative leader. Sabi nga, a true leader is one who is humble enough to admit their mistake. We need to learn from each other. We need the support of each other. And assume obligation. And this is the summary between the leadership, the difference between a manager and a leader. Alam nyo, kinuha ko yun sa iba't ibang book. Tinignan ko as kinapture. Manager and a leader. Concerned with the present, on the leaders, look at the future. The manager, make sure details are taken care of. On the leaders, set broad purposes and actions. Exercise control, create commitments. Solve today, better future. Focus on the process, leaders focus on the products. Ito naman, focus on problem behavior. Sa leaders, focus on what is right. Ano yung tama. Managers make sure people put in an honest day's work, but leaders inspire people to do their best. Leaders, okay, create vision. Managers organize and plan. Maganda ito create vision. Leaders have a vision. It's a visionary. Managers create efficient policies, but for leaders, they go beyond the standard. Lalong-lalo na kung alam niya kung ano ang makakatulong sa organization. Managers focus on efficiency. Leaders focus on effectiveness. Okay? Difference between leading and managing. If you are leading, you are creating vision and strategy, creating value, you influence and inspire other people, you have followers, you lead people, you are more people-focused, you are risk-taker, you are seeking change, you appeal to the heart. Education from the heart from Lynn Erickson. Education from the heart. You are proactive. You set direction. You raise expectation. And you actually ask questions. Whereas on managing, it's more on policies and procedure, counting the value. It's more on power and control. You look at the subordinates not as a follower, but subordinates. You manage work. You are not focused on people, but you are focused on work. You have this authoritarian style. You are risk averse and stability. You are much head. Appeal to the head rather than to the heart. Kasi may technicalities You follow the rules. You are reactive. The plans are in detail. You maintain the status quo, and you give direction. But commonly, leading and managing sets to accomplish a goal, explain vision, it organize the figureheads, motivate others, and mobilize resources. So what are the importance of leadership? It initiates action. It's very nice to see other people are following, no? Are going with you. It's motivation. It provides guidance. It actually strengthens and create confidence to our people and to the members of the organization. Lalong-lalo na if you will be empowering them. Next, it's coordination. It's effective in terms of planning. Then you inspire and motivate people. Yan yung sinasabi ni Kelly, no? Remember, the difference between a boss and a leader. A boss says go, go. A leader says, let's go. Magkakasama tayo. Magkakasama. So the role of the leader is always to ensure his or her team achieves the target in hand. But an effective leader will also ensure they meet more subtle requirements. So we'll see here, no, what is a leader? A leader is intelligent, honest, creative, confident, driven, and courageous. So the leader can be a role model. A leader is a mentor. A leader is a coach. A leader is an advisor. So, in terms of being a good leader, you need to have this strong focus. You need to have this integrity. You need to have this integrity, good engagement with others, looking at, if you are visionary, you will be looking at the bigger picture. Yung malaki. You need to be resourceful. You have to have this organizational clout and effective communication. According to Jim Rohr, a good objective of leadership is to help those who are doing poorly to do well, and to help those who are doing well to do even better. Sana hindi umiral na, ako si head, dapat ganito. Minsan i-empowered mo rin, binibigyan mo ng trabaho. When I was given to have people around, nag-delegate ako ng trabaho. Kaya lang, may limitations din tayo minsan. Kapag nagbigay ka ng trabaho, nag-set ka ng direction, kinakailangan mo kasi ng output. How do you be able to achieve that goal? Dapat klaro sa kanila yon. Klaro. Kaya nga isang emphasis doon is always have this sense of communication. So managerial leadership influences the organization in the following ways. Leading affects the morale of the people. Tama yun. Check tayo dyan. If you're a good leader, you inspire people, you motivate people, you increase their morale. You increase their self-esteem. Leading is key to effective communication. Kaya maraming nagkakaaway-away, nagkakaroon ng gulo sa isang institution because they are not communicating with each other. Leading effectively contributes more to the bottom line. Okay? So ginawa ko rito, you will see here on the different component, the difference between leadership and management in terms of role, focus, approach, methodology, style, tone, and outcome. Para yung lahat ng dinidiscuss ko ngayon, madali niyong tandaan. Inapsulize ko na makakita kayo ng isang ganito sa difference between leadership, and management. So, kinapsulize ko siya ha, para kahit mahaba man yung diniscuss ko, I can share with you, I can leave you with those important concepts. Leadership, for example, lagi sinasabi ko kanina, it's more on visionary. Management is more on productive expert. So, clear tayo dyan ha. The capsulized abridgment of the difference between leadership and management. Pero no, dito dalawang oras lang dapat ma-discuss mo yung leadership and management sa isang it's one sem. Alam niyo masarap pag-aralan yung leadership and management. Very enjoyable. Okay, for the last part, from this concept of theories, from the leadership and management, I'll be sharing with you the different theories of leadership. Okay? So this will be my last part, the theories of leadership. So maraming theories ang leadership. You have the great man trait theories. Okay? You have the skill theory. You have the behavioral theory. You have the contingency theory. So if you look at the great man trait theories, ang emphasis lang nito na merong mga leaders that are born leaders. Parang it's a trait na kapag halimbawa, merong isang leader, pinanganak na yan na maging leader. Naalala ko tuloy, no? When I was taking meron kaming isang subject sa political science, yung all about Plato's philosopher kings. Katapos dun sa Confucianism, yung idea of a good gentleman. Parang sinasabi lang, what am I saying? That if you look at the great man or trait theories, they are leaders who are born with the traits of a leader. You get the idea? Pinanganak sila na meron ng kakayahan na maging leader. Okay? So, yun yung sinasabing trait theory. Well, as if you look at the skills theory, you look at and focus on the skills and competencies. Okay? Skills and competencies. For behavioral theory, it identifies the leaders and the concept of behavior, ugali. Ay, ang bait naman ng leader na ito. Napakagaang kasama. That is behavioral. And contingency theory talks about that the leadership depends on the situation. Depende sa sitwasyon ang isang pagiging leader. Tama ba yun? Can we say that leaders is based on contingency? Pwede ba sabihin yun? Can we say that? Probably, because schools are unique in the other way around. Maraming mga schools ang unique. Maraming magkakaiba ang kultura. So, depende kung anong klaseng leadership style ang gagamitin mo. Depending on the organizational culture, the kind of environment that you have. And that is the kind of situations that you will be using as a leader. Magkakaiba ang eskwelahan, magkakaiba yung tao, magkakaiba yung kultura. So, ang pagpili ng isang leadership style depends on the people, on the environment, and likewise, the organizational culture. Okay? Other than that, you have the implicit leadership theories, stresses the importance of social construction. Social construction, the relationship between the leaders and the followers. Next, you also have the leader-member exchange theory. Okay? It talks about the interactive exchange process between leaders and followers. Ito, maraming nagkiklaim nito eh. Servant leadership. Servant leadership. Servant leadership ako eh. Kasi selfless ako. Okay? It views leaders as selfless, emphasizing much more on the service, which is intuitively appealing. Servant leadership. Kapag isang institution to, ang teacher mo ay hindi mo tinatrato na bilang subordinate, kundi you are, okay, a servant. You are a leader with a servant in a heart. Pinaglilingkuran mo rin sila. It's nice to see, no, people with this kind of servant leadership theory na tingin nila na kasama ako rito. May obligasyon din ako na paglingkuran sila. Hindi lamang ito. Marami. It's a part of transformational leadership. Then, transactional leadership. I scratch your back and you scratch mine. Transactional nga eh. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. It deals with the transaction. It provides a vivid picture of leadership as an exchange process. O dahil mabait ka, dahil gumagawa ka nito, itibibigay ko. Transactional. Kaya ginagamit ko lang yung word na I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Oo. It's an exchange process with the end result of achieving the organization. Then you have the charismatic transformational leadership. Charismatic. Those people are actually transformational, looking at on how to develop and motivate people to work with a common end goal. Distributed leadership emphasizes the participation of people on achieving the goals of the organization. Group effort, you distribute, you delegate. Then lastly, yung dito sa parameters na to, yung authentic leadership. Ito yung uso ngayon, ethical leadership. I will be encouraging you pag gusto niyo gumawa ng paper, look at ethical leadership. How do leaders make decision? Is it ethical or not? Ganda paper kaya yan. Ethical leadership. It's very timely looking at the pandemic. How do leaders decide in this kind of pandemic? How do they make decision making? O yan na, challenge ko yan sa inyo. Just I give you an idea of what can be a good paper. Ethical leadership or authentic leadership that talks about ethics in leadership, especially in terms of decision making. Okay? That is leadership. O meron pa ako? Just give me 5 more minutes yung sa planning. Yan. Okay? Kasi may binanggit na akong leadership. Isama ko na to ha, bonus to yung planning. So, what is a planning? Planning is actually used by community, groups, government departments in order to make a blueprint for action and change. It's a blueprint. Lahat tayo may plano. Okay, a goal without a plan is just a dream. Guni-guni na lang yon. Okay? Next, strategic planning is a process, should be community-based, inclusive, participatory, for a maximum stakeholders' involvement and input. And this is the benefit of strategic planning. Okay? So these are the benefit of strategic planning. Bakit kinakailangan natin ng strategic planning? We will be able to define the vision, mission, establish realistic, wag dream, realistic goals, objective and strategies, ensures effective use of resources. Huwag ka namang magpaplano kung wala ka namang budget. Magplano ka kung ano lang yung kaya. What is doable? What is achievable? And planning also helps in a consensus, inviting other people to participate. Kasi hindi lang ikaw ang magpaplano. Kaya nga in the school improvement plan, you have your school planning team. You have your school planning team because you want to identify the future direction. And it strengthens teamwork. Pagkakasama mo silang nagpaplano, nakaka-enhance, nakakatuwa, nakaka-inganyo. Alam mo yung ibang mga teacher na nagkaroon ng opportunity na sumama sa SIP, nakakatuwa yung mga reaction na, sir, meron palang school planning team. Una naman kako, talaga naman walang school planning, hindi, walang direction. Kasi sir, na ngayon lang kami nabigyan ng opportunity. Alam mo, nakakatuwa if other teachers will be given an opportunity to participate in the strategic planning. But nevertheless, kinakailangan mo rin i-identify kung sinong isasama mo. Hindi naman pwede ka, sama ka, hindi ganon. There's always a criteria. Okay? Identify your guiding team. Planning solves major problems. It provides ways to measure progress. So what are the strategic planning models? So you have different types of organization that dictates type of strategic planning. You have non-profit that focus on board development, management, and fundraising policies. You have for-profit, like focus on profit and strategic direction, especially in poor companies. So one model is the right-to-left framework. One example of strategic planning is the right-to-left framework. Okay, isa yan ha. What is this model of right-to-left framework? This is actually based from the perspective of Eduardo Morato. So, kung alam niyo yung Bimocrates Patres, yan yung tinatawag na right-to-left model. Yung iba tawag dyan, top-bottom model. Pero yung kay Eduardo Morato, ang tawag dyan right-to-left framework. Okay, right-to-left framework. So, what is this right-to-left framework by Eduardo Morato? Yan. Pag magpaplano ka, this is what we call the right-to-left work. You have the vision mission. Let us start first from the right. From the right model. You have the vision. Framework ito ha, para pag gumagawa kayo ng plano. You have the vision. You have the mission. You have the values. Okay? You have the objectives. You have the key result areas. Okay? So, nandiyan yung right mo. Okay? So, this is actually the indicator. On the other hand, you have the resources. Okay? So, that is the right-to-left model. For a while. So yan, yung strategies. You have the programs and projects. You have the activities. You have the tasks. And you have the resources. Ito naman yung nasa left mo. So this is the right. And you have the left. Ang Department of Education, nagpa-follow siya sa right-to-left model. Okay? Yan. That is a strategic planning based on Morato's concept. Pag kinabular ko yan, vision, mission, values, objectives, that is the right. Pag nakita mo naman dito, strategies, programs, activities, tasks, and resources. Ang tawag mo dyan, Bimocrates Patres. Isa yan strategic framework na tinatawag mong right-to-left model. Madali lang yan ha. Mag-create ka ng vision. Ano yung mission? Anong values? Tingnan nyo yung DepEd. May vision siya. May mission siya. May core values siya. Nasusundan niyo ako? May core values siya. Ano yung objective niya? Tapos ano yung key result areas niya? Ganyan magplano pag ginagamit mo ang right-to-left model. Pag gumawa ka ng school mo na lang. Ano ang vision ng school mo? Ano ang mission ng school mo? Ano ang objectives ng school mo? At anong values? Hindi mo tayong values. At tapos, ano yung key result areas? that will be used in order to achieve this vision mission, ARA. This is a strategic planning model number 1. Democrates Patres. Okay? See? So, if you will be looking at the strategic framework, it is very rational, sequential, and analytic. Okay? Rational because the components are aligned and interrelated in a logical manner. It is sequential because there is a planning process that is actually in series of top-down model. Mula sa taas, pababa. Okay, it's analytical because it requires an examination and assessment of the internal and external environment at the different levels. So yan. Other looking at the top-down model. Kung ayon yung right to left, top-down model. Vision, mission, values. Tapos model, bottom-up. External environment, internal. Then you have the SWOT strategy. Magkadikit yan. That is the top-down model. Makita niyo yung Democrates Patres of vision, mission, values here. Democrates Patres yan. When I created the sports program, ang ginamit ko top-down model. A right-to-left model. Inuha ko yung idea ni Morato and I will be able to craft. Depende, ito yung sinusundan. Okay, see? Kinuha ko pa yung depend, ano? Performance indicator. Okay? Vision, mission, objectives, CRA, performance indicator, strategies, action programs, activities, tasks, and resources. Parang sinasabi ko na lang, pag gumawa kayo ng plano na right-to-left model, ito ang magiging template nyo. Clear? Yan ang template nyo. Ganyan siya kaklaro. Kung gumawa ka man ng eskwela, magtayo ka man ng sarili mong eskwelahan, ito ang susundan mo. Kung ito yung model na gusto mo, ha? Yung right-to-left model. Okay? Example, yan. School Improvement Plan. O, alam nyo na. So, alam nyo na yung pinaghugutan natin. Ay, yung SIP pala, nasa Democrates Patres. Correct. I do evaluate SIP. And this is one way to identify Democrates Patres. You have the vision, you have the mission, you have the objective, and the rest of the Patres. Hala, sir, maganda palang gawin yan. Oo, ang gandang i-analyze. If you will become school leaders, alam nyo na kung paano nyo gagawin ang paggawa ng strategic planning using Democrates Patres. Any question about this one? I hope it will help, ano, in analyzing the strategic plan, SIP.
Yes, sir. Very helpful.
Yan.
Yes, sir.
Next, yan, another model, balance scorecard. So nakaisa na tayo, ha? Right to left by Morato, and then you have the balance scorecard. So balance scorecard, you have the following component. What is the balance scorecard? It is a strategic planning and management system that aligns to business activities. Pwede naman ang school kasi it's a business entity. Okay? So the primary focus of the balance scorecard is to identify the vision and the strategy of the organization, improve internal and external communication, and monitor the organization performance against strategic goals. So this is a balance scorecard. So the balance scorecard is a management tool that provides stakeholders with a comprehensive measure. Again, now with a comprehensive measure of how the organization is progressing towards the achievement of a strategic goal. It involves the use of simple performance measurement framework. Mamaya papakita ko yung framework niya. So to a full strategic planning and management system. So actually ang proponent ng balanced scorecard is si Kaplan and Norton. Unang ginamit yan sa mga business entity, sa Philippine Airlines, sa mga business company. Pero pwede naman din sa education. So the objectives of the balanced scorecard is to look at the following performance of a certain business entity into 4 components. You have financial, kaperahan, budget, the customer satisfaction, internal business processes, learning and growth. Ito siya. Yan ang balanced scorecard. Liwanag? Kita nyo na, nakadalawa na tayo. This is a balanced scorecard. In the middle, you need to put the vision and the strategy that you will be using. Identify your clients. Sino ba yung kliyente ko? Ano yung objectives ko to satisfy my customer? What are my objectives? How will I measure? What is my target? And what will be my school initiative? This is your target. So kung may vision ka, for example, ang vision mo is towards academic excellence of the school, paano mo i-relate ito in reality? So kung gusto mo ng tinatawag na academic excellence sa eskwelahan mo, ano objectives mo sa client? Mamimili ka ba ng mga estudyante lang based on grade? Na dapat kapag halimbawa ang grade nila ay 85 up, yun lang ang tatanggapin? You get the idea? Kasi customer ang pinag-uusapan mo eh. Eh kung ang gugustuhan mo naman, kung halimbawa, ang idea mo is equitably o yung access to all, regardless yung grade. So depende yan kung ano ang envisioning mo sa eskwelahan. Ito yung balanced scorecard. You focus on your customer. Next, what is the status of our finances? May pondo ba? Kung merong initiative dito sa customer na client satisfaction, na kinakailangan na ganito ang maabot ng client, may pondo, paano gagawin, at ano yung makukuha at matututunan. Maganda itong business, yung tinatawag mong balance scorecard. Kasi even the budget here, you can see. Yan, balance scorecard. Pati yung processes. When I take my compre, yung pinagawa kami ng strat plan, hindi ko kinuha yung Bimocrates Patres. Segue lang ako. Kinuha ko balance scorecard. Kasi it's much easier to plan. Kasi makikita mo na kaagad kung ano yung mga component na bibigyan mo ng programs. So this is from Norton and Kaplan. Okay? Yan, Philippine Airlines use the balance scorecard. Pakita ko lang, i-run through ko lang. Company background, ano yung vision nila, yan, vision, ano yung mission, katapos ito na yung balance scorecard nila. Yung finances, nandyan. Tingnan yung financial perspective. Anong objective, paano susukatin, ano yung target, anong initiative. Pag gumawa kayo ng school, financial perspective, anong objective? Alam ka ng ROI kagad, no? Increase enrollment, performance measure, o ilan ang target na population. See? Financial perspective yan. Customer perspective, paano ko ta-targetin yung higher customer satisfaction? O di ba yung isang ginawa ng Philippine Airlines, yung initiative nila, yung mabuhay miles, yung take yung card. So pagka nagpabook ka sa Philippine Airlines, may points ka. Parang yung sa ano rin, sa SM, part ng kanilang customer's perspective, yung SMAC. O di ba? Gumagamit sila ng balance scorecard. So internal business processes. Oh, Pagka ginawa natin itong customer satisfaction, pag sumakay ka ng Philippine Airlines, part of our process, may libre kang, alam ko may libre sa Philippine Airlines, may libreng mineral water, libreng brownies. Tama ba ako doon? Alam ko may free yun eh. Pag sumasakay ka ng airplane, part yun ng kanilang process eh. See, this is a balanced scorecard. Di ba? So to implement a balanced scorecard, the organization must define and develop measures for primary strategic objectives. Understand the entire processes of the business or the school. Identify the drivers who are those important people that can contribute to that strategic objective. Include specific ways of measuring and monitoring the different components. So kung financial aspect to, ano ko i-monitor ito? Kung customer satisfaction ito, how would I monitor this? Sa mga companies, para ma-measure nila yung customer satisfaction, nagbibigay sila ng maliliit na papel. Pinapatsekan. O, satisfy ba o hindi? See? These are ways to look at the balance scorecard. Next, communicate your beliefs. Okay? So this is why we do the balance scorecard. Similarly, this is the importance of a strategic planning. Next, third model, the McKinsey model, the 5S. It's a model of organizational effectiveness that postulates 7 internal factors of an organization that need to be aligned. Dapat lahat ito present. McKinsey model. So tatlo na tayo ha. Democrates Patres, Balance Scorecard, and the McKinsey model. This is the McKinsey model. The 7 internal factors. You have the hard S, you have the soft S. The hard S is the strategy, the structure, systems. The soft S, you have the skills, the shared values, the staff, and the style. Okay. So, ito yung component ng McKinsey model. Okay? So, the shape of the model is designed to illustrate the interdependency of the variable. It is also termed as managerial molecule. That's why you will see here parang molecule ang kanyang illustration. The framework maps an interrelated, interconnected influence of an organization's ability. So there is an interrelationship between the hard S and the soft S. So what is a strategy? Punta muna tayo sa hard S. Kinakailangan meron kang plano. Ano yung course of action mo? Next, structure. Ano yung skeleton ng organization? Ano yung organizational chart? Ulitin ko, hard S ito ha. Pag nagplano ka ng course of action, dapat may structure siya. For example, sino ang lead team? Sino ang mga component? Give you an example. Sa SBM, ang SBM kasi ay malaking program. Hindi yan magagawa ng isang tao. Magagawa yan kung meron siyang tinatawag na lead focal. So meron kang SBM focal person, tapos meron kang 4 na SBM lead team sa 4 principles. Yun yung tinatawag nating organizational chart ng isang SBM model. As in, each principles, meron kang mga members. Clear tayo? That is a typical example of a McKinsey model. Then the systems talks about the processes, procedures followed within the organization. Then for the soft S, you need to identify the skills of the staff. You need to communicate the values, the significant meaning of the guiding concepts and the vision for all members. And for the staff, you need to identify the people's resources on how you will train, develop them, and motivate them. And the style, depending what kind of leadership style that you will be using. Then yung model. Okay? So this is the model of what we call McKinsey. See? This is the McKinsey model. Okay? Any comments, question with these examples of the planning model? Comments, question, clarification? Comments? Clarification? Maraming modelo, no? Maraming models na ng strategy. Marami tayong pwedeng pagayahan. Kaya lang, mas tinignan ko kung ano yung mas nag-exist. Kasi yung balance scorecard, it was given to us 2 years ago. Hindi pala 2 years. Before the pandemic, nagkaroon kami ng training all about the balance scorecard. Alam niyo gumagamit ng McKinsey model? Starbucks. Gumagamit sila ng McKinsey model. Pag-aralan niyo yung yung Starbucks. Ang ginagamit ng Starbucks McKinsey model. Challenge ko yan sa inyo. Yung isang exam, tinitingnan nila how they trade. Even Jollibee used the McKinsey model. Yung mga food chain. Okay? Comments, question, clarification, tanong, want to ask, clarification. Tatlo yung model natin, ha? Balance scorecard, McKinsey model, tsaka right to left model. Comments, question, clarification. I hope we have we started the organization, leadership and management, and up to planning. Clarification? None? Wala naman? Okay. I hope this engagement, my apology for extending so much and getting much of your time. Kasi I really want to share all those ideas that I can give it to you. Later on, you'll become good members and leaders of our institution. And I believe with your passion and your motivation to continue your master and doctoral studies, it will help you a lot in terms of your preparation. So, maraming salamat and see you again. And I hope that we'll be having another engagement. And you learn a lot from this short period of time with this organizational planning, management, and everything. Thank you and a pleasant afternoon to all. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Comment, sir. Comment, sir.
I will be giving my PowerPoint to sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Ma'am and sir, kindly open your camera for the auto op.
Thank you.
For the photo op. Okay, so thank you po sa mga nag-open na po. Thank you, Sir Arnel, for that informative discussion. Yan. Marami kaming natutunan po regarding sa planning.
Sino pa yung ating operator?
Si Sir Idams po to, Sir. Oliver
Hi,
Pavabier.
thank you. Hi, Vincent. Salamat.
From Maligay Elementary School po.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much po, sir.
You're welcome po. Okay,
Thank you so much po.
Nagbigay pa rin ako ng ibang input sa inyo. Nag-iwan mo leadership and training. Thank you. See you all.
Open po yung camera. As I count 1, 2, 3 po.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. God bless po.
Ayan, thank you rin po. 1, 2, 3, smile po.
Hello.
Yan, wait lang po isa pa po.
It's my pleasure to share. It's my, parang ano ko na to, kumbaga.
Okay po, 1, 2, 3, smile po again.
Amor.
Ayan, thank you po.
Thank you
Okay.
po.
Thank you, sir.
Everybody,
Thank you po. Thank you po. Thank you. Bye.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you po, sir. Thank you, Doc.
Salamat po, sir. Salamat po, sir. See you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You could be shining so bright.